Fundamental Management Accounting question number 3 of April 2023. The question reads, the following information relates to several tasks of IP Limited for the month of March 2023. The company received tasks and incurred the following costs on them. We have material, direct material issued for task 1, task 2, task 3, and task 4. There are in thousands given there. We have direct material transferred and direct labor cost. Then we are told, part 2, the factory production overhead is absorbed at the rate of prime cost. And part 3, on completion of task, the company charges administration, selling and distribution cost at the rate of 30% of the total factory cost. Part 4, during the month, correct? Task 1, 2, and 3 were completed. The company's policy is to earn a profit of 20% on every task completed. You are required to compute a total factory cost for each of the tasks done in the month of March. Now this is just simple. We are meant to arrange it so that we can get the prime cost. Prime cost, we usually take the total variable cost, we get the prime cost. Then we add the overheads, we get the total factory cost. And then we can determine administration so that we get the total cost. And then we compute the profit the way we have been directed. Therefore, these are we are meant to handle the question. Let me have here as task 1. Let me use this particular worksheet. We have task 1. This one I'm going to put particulars. And then we have task 1. We have task 2. We have task 3. And then eventually we have task 4. Then we are told that the direct material, we are putting the direct material here. Direct material. For task 1, they are in thousands. Let's not forget, all of them are in thousands. And then thousands respectively. We have task direct material. We have 8,000. Then here we have 5,000. Then we have 3,000 for task 3, 3,000, then 2,000. Then we have direct material transferred, direct material transferred, we hit 1,000. Then we have 500. Then we hit 1,300. Then we hit 200. Let's determine the material consumed. Material consumed. Material consumed. We are going to subtract, whereby here we are going to get 7,000, 4,500. Here we get 4,300, and then we are getting 2,200. Then we are told we have direct labor. Direct labor was how much? Let me just scroll down. We were told that for task 1 is 3,000, 2,500, 1,500, then we have 1,000. we can add to get the prime cost. If we 7,000 plus 3,000, we get the prime cost. Prime cost as 10,000. Then 4,500. 4,500. We are adding 2,500. We get 7,000. 7,000. Then there 4,300 plus 1,500. 5,800, 2,200 plus 1,000, we get 3,200. Then we are told something, that is the prime cost. We are told that the factory production overhead are absorbed at the rate of 50% of prime cost. Now at this point we can put factory production overhead. Factory production overhead is absorbed at 50% of the prime cost. Now we take 50% of prime cost. Now we are going to take 50% of 10,000, 0.5 multiplied by 10,000, have 5,000, 5,000. Then 50%, so 0.5 multiplied by 7,000, we get 35, 3,500. Then 0.5, we are multiplying by 5,800, you have 29. Then we have 0.5 multiplied by 3,200, you have 16. When we add the total, we should be getting what we call the factory cost. Now we have that, we get 15,000. Here we have 10,500. Then here we have 5,800 plus 2,900. Have 8,700. Then 32 plus 16. Have 48. This is what I said. We call it factory cost. Then we go to part 3. On completion of task, the company charges administration, selling, administration costs at the rate of 30%. The company, on completion, the company charges administration, selling, and distribution. Now, in this case, we are going to have administration, selling, and distribution. It is at 30%. 30% of what? 30% of total factory cost or factory cost. Now we have factory cost, which is given there. Now we can pick 30% of that. We are getting here is 4,500. Then we have 0.3, we multiply by 10,500. Have 3,150. Then 0.3, we multiply by 87. Have 26,2610. Then 0.3, multiply by 48. We have 144,1440. When we add the total, we get the total cost. We have the total cost, which in that case we can start by that plus 4,800. At this point, the total cost we are getting 6240. Part of this one, 8,700. We have 26,100. We have 11,310. Then we have 10,500. We are adding 3,150. We have 13,650. Then we have 1,500 plus 4,500. We have here the total cost as 19,500. Let's go back to the question. We see what they They are telling us number 4, during the month the task 1, 2, and 3 were completed. The company policies to earn a profit margin of 20% on every task completed. Remember, it is task 1, 2, 3 that were completed. Now we can earn a profit. You can put here the profit. The profit is being calculated as 20% on every task completed. 20%. They make a profit of that. Let's see. 20% multiplied by 0.2. Here the profit will be made as 3,900. Then we have the same multiplied by 13,650. The profit that they will make on task 2 will be 27,30. Then we have 0.2 multiplied by 11,310. We have 22,62. Then we have, but task 4, we are not going to make a profit because it was not completed. Now we can add, we can compute, we determine the selling price. Here we should be getting 13,572 as the profit, or total sold, 13,650 plus 27,30. We have 16,380. Then we have 19,500 plus 3,900, which is 23,400. That is the total sales value. Sales. That's what they are meant to sell those products. Then we are told determine the invoice price for each of the companies. Determine the invoice price for each of the company. Now that is what we call the invoice, the whatever you have gotten, invoice. We have task 1, task 2, and task 3. The invoice we have for task 1 will be 23,400. Task 2 will be 16,380. Then task 3 is going to be 572. You do that, you scope the entire marks for part A. Then we are told, that is part B, Mali Limited is considering the possibility of outsourcing. Considering the possibility of outsourcing component set, which it currently makes for the top-down suppliers. The top-down suppliers will supply the component which has the following requirements for an economic order quantity model. Annual demand 20,000 units. Ordering cost, we have 1,000 shillings per order. Purchase price, we have 40 shillings. Carrying cost per annum per unit is 16% of the purchase price. Then addition formations, if Mali Limited continues to make 20,000 units per annum of the company set, its cost budget will be as follows. You have direct material as 25, direct labor we have 20, production overhead 40% variable, then distribution is 50% fixed. You have the cost per unit as 110. Then you are told that the fixed overheads are absorbed based on the budgeted production and sales capacity of 25,000 units. If Mali Limited continues to make the product set, then the cost of direct material will rise by 2%, but direct labor cost will fall by 2%. Fixed distribution overheads are an avoidable cost if Mali Limited outsource the component, but the production overhead will go down by what? 30%. Required. Advise Malima Limited whether to make or buy the component set from Top Time Limited. Now let's see if the Top Time will supply the component which has the following of these particular figures. At that point, we can determine the total cost of this particular product using the economic order quantity. Then we can look at what Mali can make if not purchasing from Top Time. Now let's look at the requirements what Top Time could provide. Yes, now let's work with the, let me flip this question down here. Let's deal with the Top Time. Top down suppliers. We have been given that annual requirements, which is demand, as 20,000 units. Then we have ordering cost, that is CO, which is 10,000 per order. And then we have purchase price, that is price, which is what? 40 shillings. Then the CH or carrying cost, we are told that is 16%. 16% of the purchase price. Let's calculate 16% of purchase price. 16 over 100 multiplied by 40. You have something to do with 36.4. Now let's determine the economic order quantity. E or Q is equal to the square root, that is CO2, everything over CH, where CO is cost of order, D is demand, CH is carrying cost. Therefore, all of them have been given here. We have 2 multiplied by CO, it was 1,000, multiplied by demand, 20,000. Everything we are dividing by 6.4, but they are under the root. Let's see. 2 multiplied by 1,000 multiplied by 20,000. The answer we divide by 6.4. Then the square root of the answer, we get the EOQ. EOQ as 2,500 units. Now, the cost of ordering. Cost of ordering. That stock we say given as demand, D over EOQ multiplied by the cost per order. In this case, the demand, it was 20,000. We are dividing 2,500. We multiply by the CO, this was 1,000. Let's see what you get. That is 20,000 divided by 2,500. The answer we are multiplying by 1,000. We have 8,000. What about the cost of holding stock? Cost of holding stock. Cost of holding. Cost of holding stock. It is usually given as E or Q over 2 multiplied by CH. Now E or Q equals as 2,500. We are dividing by 2 multiplied by CH, which is 6.4. 6.4. Let's see. 2,500 divided by 2. The answer we are multiplying by 6.4. You get also 8,000. Then we have the cost of the stock. The cost of stock itself, which is now the demand, that was 20,000. We multiply by the purchase price, which was the 40. We have 20,000 multiplied by 40. We have what we call 800,000. Let's see, plus 16,000. Okay, so we are getting, if we are taking that consignment from top town, we are meant to spend at 816 Kenyan shillings. What if we make? What if we make? We are told that if Mali continues to make 20,000 units per annum of component set, its cost budget will be as follows. Therefore, let's now see how if we are making, but we are told something, that if Mali fixed overhead are absorbed on the budgeted production. Let me put here, this is when if we purchase, but if we making, we are told that the fixed overheads above are absorbed based on the budgeted production and sales capacity of 25,000 units. Now remember there are 20. Now we can determine the direct material. The exact direct material was how much. And if Mali Limited continues to make, now the direct material, if they make direct material which currently is retail, the cost is 25. We are told that Roman number part B, if Mali continues to make the product set, then the cost of direct material will rise by 2 shillings. We can add 2 shillings, which will be 27. Then we are told that but direct labor cost will fall by 2%. Will fall by 2%. Let's see, it is 2%, not this one. Let me change it a bit. In that case, we can multiply this by 102 over 100. We determine what we get. 102 multiplied by 25 divided by 100. It will change to 25.5. Then direct labor will drop by 2%, which currently is 20. 20 multiplied by 98 over 100. In that case, we have 20 multiplied by 98. Everything we are dividing by 9, which will be now retailing at 19.6. The cost per unit will be 19.6. Then we are told the production overhead cost. Overhead, we have 60% variable. Now variable production overhead, we take 60% over 100. We are multiplying by 25, which is 0.6 multiplied by 25, which is 15. Then we are also told that distribution overhead 50% is fixed, meaning variable distribution, which is 50% of 100. We are multiplying by what? By 40, which turns to be 20. Okay. Then we are told that the fixed cost distribution overhead are unavoidable, and if the Mali continues to outsource the company's product, will drop by 30%. Now, how do we take it from that point? Now, at that point, we can compute the variable cost per unit. Have 25.5 plus 19.6 plus 15 plus 20. We have the variable cost per unit is 80.1. 80, that is variable cost. Then fixed cost, we are going to get it the other side. Fixed cost fixed cost. Fixed cost is towards remember we had a fixed production 60% gave us 15. Now the balance, which is 25 minus 15, it's just a fixed production cost is 10. And then the other side, it was 50-50, that is by distribution, which is equal to 20. That gives us 30 shillings per unit. Then we are told something. We are told that now we are meant to determine the cost incurred. Right? At this point, we can just determine the productions, variable production cost, variable production cost. Before we do that, we are told that this production cost is absorbed based on the budgeted production cost and the capacity of 20. Therefore, we can take 20,000, everything over 25. We multiply by 80.1, so that we just do it as once. It will be 20,000 divided by 25,000 multiplied by 80.1. Get 64.08. The same applies to this one, which is 20,000 over 25,000 divided by 30, which is now 20,000 divided by 25. The answer, we are multiplying by 30, we get 24. Therefore, when we come to production, we are going to pick 64.08 multiplied by the units that were produced, which were 20,000. Then we are going to add fixed production, fixed cost, production cost, which is 24 multiplied by 20,000. If we do that, 24 multiplied by 20,000, we have 480. And then we have 64.08 multiplied by 20,000. We have 12,816. Sorry, not 1,000. Eliminate 0 moja. Then you add plus 480. We have 17,61,600. But we are told something before we proceed. If fixed production are unavoidable and outsourced to component, but fixed production overhead will go down. Fixed production overhead will go down by 30. We are meant to compute. At that point, let me just segregate them. Let me segregate them at this point. Fixed, we are told that a fixed distribution overhead are unavoidable. Distribution, it was 10. Now if we compute that, is 20 over 25 multiplied by 10. 20 divided by 25 multiplied by 10. We have 8 multiplied by 20,000, which we are creating as multiplied by 20,000. Things that were produced, 160,000. Then the distribution, which was 20, we can take that 0.8. If you take 20 over 25, 20,000 over 25,000, if you multiply by that, that's multiplied 20. We have 0.8 multiplied by 20 of 16. 16 multiplied by 20,000. But this one will go down by what? By 30. Now in this case, the total we get, we multiply by 70%. Whatever we get, we multiply by 70%, which is 16 multiplied by 20,000. The answer we multiply by 0.7. We have 224,000. Then we add plus 160. We have here 384,000. Then when we add plus 1281,600. Here we get a total, cumulative total as 16,656,600. If they are going to consume whopping 1,665,600. But if they are going to outsource and buy from Top Town, they are meant to incur a cost of 816. Then you are told, advise Mali Limited whether to make or buy. Now the advice here should be just what? To buy from Top Town. The advice should be the Mali to buy from Top Down, which will be a bit cheaper, which will cost, that is 8, which will cost, let me just get correctly, which will cost 816, compared to making is going to take them 1,665,000. You do that, you get the entire marks correctly.